Prince Harry, whose memoir just broke the Guinness record for fastest-selling nonfiction book of all time. They're now releasing a version for kids. I don't know if you know about this. It's a twist on The Princess and the Pea. It's called The Prince and the Penis, and it's...
The final week of 2025 has delivered...
Before we analyze the definitive cultural shift that just rocked Hollywood, ensure you subscribe so you can start the new year equipped with the sharpest commentary on the moments that matter. Now, brace yourselves, because the carefully constructed facade of Montecito royalty didn't just crack in the final days of 2025. It was spectacularly demolished on national television. The concluding week of 2025 delivered a cultural inflection point that few observers, and certainly not the inhabitants of certain high-security Californian enclaves, anticipated. It signaled a seismic realignment in the tectonic plates of celebrity influence.
Gardening and curated reflections. The series aimed to present Meghan as approachable, grounded, and relatable. Instead, it quickly became a flashpoint for criticism, with reviewers...
The catalyst was a Tuesday night broadcast that has since saturated every major social platform, a moment when Jimmy Kimmel, long considered a reliable safe harbor for liberal-leaning celebrities and a traditional ally of the broader Sussex narrative, delivered a monologue that transcended mere comedy. It was less a routine and more of a televised dismantling of Meghan Markle's painstakingly curated persona. In a segment that stunned his live studio audience before igniting a wildfire of approval across social media, Kimmel hilariously vaporized the Duchess of Sussex over a cascade of 2025 business catastrophes, her combative legal posturing against a tiny Spanish municipality, and the perceived vacuity of her latest Netflix ventures. Kimmel didn't just tell jokes. He essentially issued a permission slip to the American public, validating the urge to laugh at a woman who has spent years demanding to be regarded with the utmost, unwavering gravity. The shocked reaction from the in-studio crowd, quickly overtaken by a roar of online applause for Kimmel's unfiltered salvo, has reportedly left the Duchess reeling, furious that the one shield she believed infallible, Hollywood's uncritical loyalty, has officially shattered. This wasn't merely late-night banter. It was a cultural ratification of a growing global critique that views Meghan Markle not as a victim of relentless circumstance, but as the architect of her own highly controversial, struggling narrative. The controversy enveloping Meghan Markle reached a fever pitch as late 2025 approached, primarily fueled by the spectacular, often bizarre hurdles she faced while attempting to launch her definitive lifestyle brand. Kimmel's monologue wasted no time, hitting the ground running by addressing the surreal Pereira plagiarism scandal, a situation that has painted the Duchess as either remarkably ill-advised by her team or stunningly entitled in her own right. Earlier in the year, reports surfaced that the mayor of Pereira, a small, historic village on the island of Majorca, was considering legal avenues against Meghan for allegedly appropriating the town's centuries-old coat of arms for her, as ever, brand logo. Kimmel seized upon this with biting wit, posing the fundamental question of why a woman possessing millions of dollars and a massive global platform felt the need to effectively shoplift the heritage of a Spanish farming community just to peddle overpriced artisanal jam. The joke landed with a thud of undeniable truth that resonated powerfully with viewers. It highlighted the fundamental, inescapable contradiction at the heart of the Meghan Markle brand. She presents herself tirelessly as a champion of rights, a defender of the underdog, and an original thinker, yet she simultaneously finds herself embroiled in a tawdry controversy where she is accused of perverting the identity of a small, defenseless community for corporate gain. By mocking this specific absurdity, Kimmel stripped away the layers of royal dignity she clings to and exposed her as just another celebrity founder who is vastly out of her depth. Furthermore, Jimmy Kimmel's critique extended far beyond casual mockery of business missteps and aimed squarely at the heart of Meghan Markle's major 2025 media offering, her Netflix series, With Love, Meghan. The program was transparently designed as a carefully calibrated reintroduction to the masses, a soft landing meant to warm chilly public sentiment through domestic imagery, gentle aesthetics, and aspirational calm. Centered around themes of cooking, gardening, and curated reflections on life, this series aimed to re-present Meghan as approachable, grounded, and relatable. The execution, however, became an immediate flashpoint for criticism, with reviewers and audiences alike branding it sanitized, deeply inauthentic, and cluelessly elitist. Kimmel's takedown of the premiere episode proved especially cutting because it articulated precisely what so many viewers already felt but struggled to name. Zeroing in on the now infamous sequence where Meghan laughs and frolics through a sun-drenched, palm-lined field, he portrayed the moment not as joyful or serene, but as strangely, unnervingly performative. His jest, that the show felt less like a comforting cooking program and more like a hostage video released by a high-end spa, landed with devastating force because it captured a collective sense of unease. The imagery was polished to perfection. The tone was relentlessly, aggressively upbeat, yet the underlying emotion felt rehearsed rather than lived. In Kimmel's framing, Meghan emerged not as a comforting lifestyle guide, but as the ultimate controversialist, someone whose frantic attempts at projecting softness only amplify perceptions of deep-seated artificiality. The mockery resonated because it reflected a profound and growing public fatigue with what critics term her performative happiness. Viewers no longer see escapism when they look at her content. They see calculation. Every beatific smile appears timed by a director, every charming anecdote feels scripted by a committee, and every jar of preserves seems positioned not as a gesture of home, but as part of a desperate, broader branding exercise rather than a genuine expression of self. This is the very crux of the controversy. Critics argue Meghan Markle seems constitutionally incapable of just being Meghan. There is no neutral moment, no unguarded gesture. Everything feels like a move in an elaborate, high-stakes chess match, one in which the audience is expected to admire the cleverness of the strategy rather than connect emotionally with the player. Kimmel's mockery validated the growing perception that the public has largely opted out of that game entirely. By framing her American dream as a hollow California cliché, Kimmel distilled a deeper critique that has been brewing for months, that even with enormous budgets, unparalleled global platforms, and pristine production values, Meghan's projects cannot escape the reality of her polarizing image. Instead of rebuilding goodwill with love, Meghan, she reinforced the damaging impression that she is increasingly out of touch with the very audience she claims to understand, living proof that scale and polish cannot substitute for authenticity. One of the most convincing and damaging segments of the Kimmel roast involved the now notorious Nutella incident. Earlier this year, in response to intense backlash over the botched rollout of her as ever brand, Meghan shared a cryptic, passive-aggressive post on Instagram featuring a quote that stated, "You cannot make everybody happy. You're not a jar of Nutella." Kimmel's dismantling of this specific quote was perhaps the most hilarious, yet revealing, part of the night. He pointed out the staggering irony of a woman who has built her entire modern platform advocating for mental health, kindness, and compassion using a snarky, Pinterest-style clapback to silence legitimate business critics. This behavior portrays Meghan Markle as the controversial one because it highlights her profound inability to absorb constructive criticism. Instead of addressing the very real issues of trademark denials or the inventory shortages that have plagued her nascent business attempts, she chose to compare herself to a beloved chocolate hazelnut spread. It was a move that Kimmel wryly suggested was the only relatable thing she's done in years, except for the fact that people actually like Nutella. This critique is exceptionally strong because it hits at the heart of the Sussex brand failure, a total lack of self-awareness. When a late-night host can successfully turn your own solemn empowerment quotes into a punchline about your lack of popularity, the brand is in a state of terminal decline. The Kimmel segment also expertly wove in what commentators have dubbed the Martha Stewart factor, adding a layer of crushing professional credibility to the critique aimed at Meghan Markle. Earlier in the year, lifestyle icon Martha Stewart appeared to throw subtle, yet undeniable, shade at Meghan by questioning her authenticity and her depth of actual knowledge within the domestic lifestyle space. Though understated at the time, the remark carried immense weight precisely because it came from the undisputed queen of the industry, someone whose authority was built over decades of consistent work, tangible expertise, and deep cultural influence.